for gourds, but after we got metal tools, we was able to carve out more intricate designs like these. And our mask was used for our dance ceremonies. We needed some rhythm for our dances, so we would use rattles like these. We had our gourd rattle, and we also had our wood rattle. And they were able to get different sounds by adding in like different pebbles or seeds in them. And we also had our water dipper made out of a gourd, and our bowl, which is this right here. Our fork would have been made out of mountain cane, and our spoon would have been a hollowed out bison horn. That would have been our fork and spoon at the time. And then after we started trading, this is what this started to look like. The men decorate more than the women. They follow nature. So if you ever seen the red bird, it is a lot brighter, or the male's a lot brighter than the female. So that's what they do. They decorate more than women. And these are like arm cuffs that go around your arm. It even could be made out of brass or copper, and they just cut them into strips like these. Seashells, you probably heard about them in the previous stations. You can also use these by crushing them up, mixed with animal fat and water. He was able to get a white paint to represent peace. And our other seashells. Pipestone and soapstone we was able to find in the surrounding areas. We use our soapstone and pipestone for our 7 claims pipe like this one. Each claim had their own side, and whatever claim you was a member of, you can always smoke out of that side. It was just a form of praying. They would smoke a harsh mountain tobacco within this. They would never inhale it. They would just hold it in their mouth, say their prayer, and then release it to the Creator. And our Creator is just like another form of God. That would have been our 7 claims. This right here is our bow drill. If you notice that beadwork, we have our bone needle. At the end is that little hole. We'll use the bow drill to get that. At the end is a piece of flint tied with some sinew. This would have been stone, and it just winds itself back up. And this also could go through like our soapstone to get the holes on the side of it. That would have been our bow drill. Do you all have any questions about wood carving?
Nowadays we use a couple of different types of materials. Like you see Miss Naomi over here, she's using white oak. We take a white oak sapling, cut it into strips. We'll take our knife here, stick it in the top, pop that down, and then just peel those strips apart. But then we'll take our knife and we're going to scrape that splint down, so it's not only going to give it the desired thickness, but it also makes it shiny and smooth. We also use river cane, which is kind of a cousin to bamboo. And this one, whenever we cut it into splints, we're only going to scrape out the inside and leave the outside because it's already shiny and smooth. And to get our different colors, we use yellow root for our yellows. Blood root gives us our reds and oranges. Ooh. There it is. We use walnut for our browns. And butternut gives us black. And this is our interlocking handle. So this is one piece of wood attached to itself at the bottom. So this is more for your heavy duty work type basket. But it is made from one piece of wood, and then we're going to weave the basket around this. So if you break this handle, you're going to have to take the whole basket apart and start over. This one is our drop handle basket, and this is more for fashionable use, kind of like in a lady's purse. So after completing your basket, but before putting your rim on, we take our handle here and our hook, insert the hook into the handle, attach the hook to the side of the basket, and then weave the rim around it. So if you break this handle, you just take the rim off and put you another handle on there. But this is also an example of our single weave basket. So we start at the bottom, work our way up the sides, and then rim out the top. And this little one, this is our double weave basket. So this one we'll start at the bottom on the inside, work our way up the sides, fold the splints back like you see here, go all the way back down and finish up on the bottom on the outside. And these, if woven tight enough, are watertight. And this will give you kind of an idea of what the 2 layers that go into a double weave. Any questions?
century trade station. Now, I'm sure everybody at least once in their life has asked their mom for a few bucks so they could go to the store. So actually what that term comes from is our main source of trade back in the 18th century would have been buckskins. Now, your basic trade, as I said, would have been based off of the buckskin or any furs in general. Just for an example, 2 pounds of any fur, such as raccoons, squirrels, anything like that, 2 pounds of that would equal 1 buckskin. Now, for your beavers and otters, since they are waterproof, each of those is actually worth 5 buckskins. Because of those waterproof qualities, they were more sought after. That way the European traders could make felt hats and waterproof clothing out of it. Other things we could have used the buckskins to trade for, your cloth would have cost you 3 to 4 buckskins. Beads, just various beads like you saw up at the bead workstation. Metal utensils like you see here. Ribbons, pocket watches, different things such as that. Now, one of the most traded items back in the 18th century would have been firearms. Now, the firearms, there were 2 different ways of making a trade for that, depending on who the trader was. A firearm would run you anywhere between 35 to 40 buckskins, or they would make you stack the furs to the height of the gun. Now, what European traders started to do was selling us less than quality firearms. We would take them out in the field, use them once or twice, and then they would start to jam up and break on us. So what we started to do in return is we would get a few of those pelts. It was a very fast-paced trade back then. You put it on the scale, it weighs right next person. So what we would do is we'd get those pelts, sew pockets, put dirt or rocks into those pelts,
Nice.
leave the top and bottom alone to weigh down those pelts. We were only giving what we were receiving.
Right.
Y'all have any questions about our fur trade?
So during the French and Indian Wars, including the Revolutionary Wars, our homes and towns would be destroyed quite often. So these houses had to be made very quickly in that time. So with the whole community working together, both men and women will help do their part. And all these houses you'll see here, they are built 1/3 to scale. So they'll be built quite large enough to hold 10 to 15 people at a time. So you can actually have several generations of your family living in one house. So with the whole community working together, you can probably build a good sized house in 3 to 6 weeks. Now the logs will be hatched and stacked on top of each other, similar to Lincoln logs, and we'll use this chinking right here. It's a mix of clay with animal fur or plant fibers, and that will cause it to stick to the wall. Now this is heat resistant, so during the winter time, it'll keep the nice heat and warmth from the fire inside and keep the cold out, and vice versa in the winter and in the summertime. And we also line this the inside of our fireplace, as you can see the chimney. It does look like it's made of wood and might catch on fire, but as they're building the fireplace, they'll actually coat a thick layer of that inside, so the wood won't be scorched or burned when we have fires burning. Now when you look inside, there will be a loft that extends halfway across. That'll be mostly used for storage, and there'll be a rack above the fireplace to hang and preserve meats, herbs, or anything else. Now these homes right here, they also had a second purpose. It was also used as like a defense mechanism. So when soldiers and generals will come down and burn our villages, they'll look in the distance to see houses and they'll think, oh, there's a white settlement, and they'll just leave that alone and go on to the next village to destroy.
Sad.
But once he learned that that was a Cherokee village he passed, by the time he goes back to destroy it, all the people who lived there would have enough time to fled. So it serves as a self-defense mechanism as well. Now this was all one room, so there was no walls or any of that, and there was obviously no windows. So this will be just one large room, and everyone would have slept together in one corner. Now y'all can look inside, take as much pictures and videos as you like. Just make sure not to touch anything. and you'll meet Miss Callie down there for your next house.
However, the main part here is we do have a front and a back porch, like I was saying time, and they would just make benches that we did. However, when you walk inside, you will see that there's not much going on other than a couple beds and a tent to get something out of the closet. So, as with the 1800s, this is also about a third of the size it traditionally would have been, and we're estimating that about 15 to 17 people would live here. The same concept, multi-generations, near family and multi-families. But across the way, what we have is our sweat house. So this is where you went when you were feeling ill or sick. We believe that we could sweat out that illness and make you feel better. So what we would do is have a pot out here with some herbal remedies and hot water, boil that. Once we had it nice and boiling, we would pour that over those cold river rocks we rolled in from the river, instantly creating a vapor and causing you to sweat. The Cherokees had cure for every disease their people had. That wasn't until about this time we got introduced to smallpox. And smallpox wiped out about half the Cherokee population, not including all the other tribes that were affected by that. So this is an example of a very elaborate sweat. We still do this today, however we'll use tents and tarps and modern materials. However, with something such as this structure, we would grow our medicinal plants. Up there we have is touch-me-not. So by its name, you're not supposed to touch the leaf or the oil or the seed it produces. However, if you break open that stem, there's a nice little gel that kind of acts like aloe. Yeah, so you can put that on bug bites and scrapes and cuts. We also have some poke salad. That's those bigger stalk plants right there. That is a first food of Cherokee. It's kind of like mustard greens. A leafy vegetable we have here. So you guys have any questions on the 1700s?
Yeah, you could definitely try, and like I said, it would be worth it to check out the both. There's 3 bands of Cherokee. So there's a Cherokee Nation and United to a band in Oklahoma.
I know she was here because it was
Yeah.
Boone County.
Okay.
So,
Then I think that you can try and find some, and if not, as far as like a role, they work really well. Find out, as much far back as you can, as well as the surrounding counties. What historians they have, especially for the dolphins. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you. So did the gourds, was that like?
I like to explain the gourd as like our plastic. So we use them for water bottles, storing Tupperware. Yeah. And they grow various sizes. So these are both gourds. As you can see, there's a lot of various species that make them look a lot different. Some are a lot longer, and those are typically for water, like a water.
Clay. We would basically turn our home into a basket before packing this clay on top. Doing so, it would act the same way that metal frames do for concrete or cement in modern construction, just holding everything up and in place while it dries. Now the roof is made from thatch, and the material we would do that with always depended on what was available to us, but we could use material like birch bark to do so. Now, in the center of every one of these homes would be a small fire pit with an opening in the ceiling that's been raised up a bit for the smoke to escape from. That raised up part does have some thatching over top of it, and that's just to make sure no snow or rain can get in. Homes like these would be able to be used as smokehouses during the summer, whenever nobody can actually sleep in here because it's a bit too hot. We can use it to smoke our meat so that they'll have flavor and such to them, as well as preservation. A home like this will take roughly about 6 months to complete and last for about 20 years or so before needing to be completely rebuilt. But do you guys have any questions about this one?
was the thatch from the chimney catch on fire, or?
No. The way that it's placed, by the time that anything gets up that way, it's just ash.
So did they sleep inside with no roof?
Yes. All of our cabins would never have any windows on them because they're made for the winter. So they're made to keep as much heat inside as possible. So windows would just help like let that bleed out too much. And the only openings would be